Ask and ye shall receive. Today we'll be going through the solo to Cosmic by Avenged Sevenfold off their latest album. I'm playing this on a 6-string tuned to drop D, but we don't use the 6th string for anything, so standard will do. There's a link to the tabs in the description if you want to follow along, and with that, let's jump into the first section. So the solo starts off with this passage. So that's 9, 11, 12 on the G string and then back to 9 with a bunch of vibrato. Then you slide into the 7th fret, still on G, 5th fret, and then you go slide from above into the 5th fret on the D with a bit of a pause in between. Next section goes like this. So that's a full bend on the 19th fret on the G string. Play the 20th fret on the B string. Then you play 17, 19, 20 on B, finishing up on 17th on the higher E string. Careful not to have those two ringing out together after you do the bend. That's not it. The next run starts off on 17 on the high E, so you pick that again, and then you go 19, 17, 15 on B, a little chromatic 16, 15, 14 on G, then 16, 14 on D, slide back to 12. Next section goes like this. You slide up to 17 on the B, hit 19, back to 17, and then a 19 quick bend and release. And then at the very end there you just slide up to the 22nd fret. Go back down to 7th fret on the G string, slide into it. So I do this passage by going 7, pull off 5, slide back to 4, and then pick on the 5 again. And then you do that same thing now on 9, 7, 5, 7. And then it's 12, 11, 9, 11, still on the G string. I just do this all with pull-offs and then hit the 11th fret with a pick. Make sure you get good vibrato on the notes that you hold for a longer duration. Next section goes something like this. So you finish up here, then you go 9, 11 on the G string, rather slowly, and then you go into a quicker run starting on the 12th fret G, 10, 12, 13 on B. So the way I do it mentally is I do the first 2 picks normally, and then when I'm ready to hit that 12th fret, I'm already gearing up for the fast run, kind of just sweeping through, doing a bit of economy picking there. If I'm not ready to do economy picking because it's kind of hit or miss for me still, I'm ready to alternate pick that B string. So I've moved up to it already, and I play the 12th on the G kind of in passing. So it's 9, 11, moving up to the B already, and then awkwardly pick the 12th, and now that 10, 12, 13 run on the B string is very easy. After that you pull off all the way back, so 13, 12, 10 on B, 12, 11, 9, and then finishing up on the 8th fret on the G. Next is a cool little run up with a bit of a twist to it. So you start on the 8th again, but you hold it for a little bit before going into the run. So the run itself is just 8, 9, 11 on the G, 8, 10, 12 on the B, and then 8 on the E, slide to 12. So I can hear in the studio album, he's pausing on this one, plays those relatively normally, speeds through the B string notes to make up for that loss of time in holding his 8th note. So after you go 8 to 12 slide, pick it a couple of times with some vibrato, then you go down 13, 12, 10 on B, 12, 11, 9 on your G, and now that's your new root note. And you do the same kind of pattern up with that delay on the 9th. So after holding at 9, you go 11, 12, and 10, 12, 13 on B, 12 on E, and then 14 bend to a 15. But with some crazy vibrato on it. And after that's done, quickly slide up to the 15 and do a pull off. 15, 14, 12, slide back to the 10 and then pick the 12th. Next section's quite crazy. It goes something like this. So with that one, you're just running up 17, 19, 20 on B, 17, 19, 20 on E, bend to 22nd, and then back. And then you hit the 19th fret and trill on 20. And then you do this weird slide bit, which sounds like a slide into 15, into 17, back to 15, and then back to 20, and then you do another just quick hammer on pull off. So... and then you go into this weird shape, which is 17, 15, 12 on the E, 16, 13, 12 on the B, and you go down to G, 14, 12, 9, 13, 10, 9 on the D. It's a very awkward one to get down. I tend to do the trill with a very straight on hand. You know, like index finger sort of parallel to the frets. While that's not the most comfortable position for me, I find that the easiest way to do this section. And getting into those notes that quickly, especially after coming out of the weird slide and then the trill, I really have to rely on muscle memory, so I find starting off in this position is better than having to adjust while remembering that, because doing it a bit more slide on, which is how I play, is very awkward. So for the next bit, you hit that 9th fret on the G, and over 2 bars, you bend it up a full step. After 2 bars, you do a tapping harmonic onto the 21st. So it's... now having that note ring out for so long was a bit of a tricky thing. I think Sin's got his Sustainiac pickup going, so it's fine for him. But any increase in volume or gain that you have can help. So on the Majesty here, this is a volume boost. So in the cover I did this, tap that on, and it's still ringing out with a fuller note. So even after a bit of time, I could still get that full harmonic. Otherwise, up your gain or lower your noise gate. Okay, next section. So you slide into the 5th fret on the G string with a bunch of vibrato. Then you want to palm mute 5-7 on the G and then 5-7 on the B. You want to make them nice and chunky, so do them with downstrokes. Then you hit the 8th fret, but you do it with a pinch harmonic. And then you just do a pull off back 8-7-5 on the B and 7-5-4 on the G. I pull off those first 3, then go 7-5 with my ring and then index and slide back to 4. As that 4 is ringing out, I switch to the neck pickup and do the next section, which goes like. So that's 5, 7, 8 on B, slide to 10, slide to 12, slide back to 10. And from there, the next section is. So that rundown is 10, 8, 7 on B, 9, 7, 5 on G, 7, 5, 4 on D, 7, 5 on A. It's very legato sounding, so I use pull-offs for all of them. It can be tricky getting into position for that because you're coming off of the slides from. So once I'm there, I quickly swap my pinky to take over from my ring on the 10th fret. That makes sense. So ring is still there, then I pick and go pinky, middle, index, and then just go all the way down with those same fingers. Do the same kind of bend like you did with the 9th fret, where you bend it up over 2 bars, and then afterwards you'll do a natural harmonic little tapped one on the 17th fret. This is all on A string. After that, switch back to the bridge pickup, and you go into this passage. So that's sliding up to the 10th fret on B, 12, 9 on G, 12 on B again, 10, 12, big bend on 12, going up to like the 15th fret equivalent, so that's a step and a half. Make sure you get good vibrato on all of those notes. And then as you return back to the 12th fret, you do a hammer on and pull off section going 12, 13, 12, 10, and back to 12, and then resolving on 13. Following that is a funny little section where you're doing this quick run of 10, 10 on B, 12, 13, slide to the 17, and bending the 15th up a full step. And then a nice sweep from D through B, 17, 16, 15. And you do a full step bend on 17, you hit the 15th on the E, and you keep going back between them. Then a nice bend, release, bend with some vibrato. It's tricky, but make sure you don't have those two ringing out at the same time. Alright, now for one of the very difficult parts of the solo. Switch back to your neck pickup, slide to the 8th fret on the E string, and you're doing this legato passage of 12, pull off 8, hammer on 12, slide to 14, slide back to 12, pull off to 8. Practice that a few times to get that slide motion to be fluent so you're not going too fast or too short and you're pulling off right to the 8th note. Also make sure that you're not skipping out on notes, like they should all be ringing for the same amount of time, and it's very tricky at the speed that the solo is played at. It's very easy to like shortcut it and go. That won't sound good. The notes are very evenly distributed and it feels it when you listen to the songs. After that, you're going to go 10th fret on B, chromatic down on 11, 10, 9 on G. So the next bit's the weird part. The easiest way I found to play it was to go 12, and then 9, 11, 12, all on A. So then going up to the D string, 10, 9, 10, and then 9 on G, 7 on B, 10, 9, 10. So it's and a big bend. So to start out, I feel like it's easier to go 12, pull off, pick, 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 and then do a little economy sweep thing of. But I do like how in the studio version you can hear the palm muted little chunky bits down here, so you got to pick it all once you get that pattern down. Yeah, that last bit is just sliding up to 17 on the B and then a bend on 16. Alright, now the tricky part. So I go back to the bridge pickup and I play this little passage. 7, 10 on A, 9, 12, 14, 9 on D, 12, 10 on A. That's the pattern and we're going to repeat it 3 times. Except we're going to go up a string each time and slightly change the notes. So the next one is 9, 12 on D, and then going on G, 9, 14, 12, 9. You go 12, 9 now. So whereas on the A it was 12, 10, on the D it's 12, 9. So the last one is 9, 12 on G, 10, 15, 12, 10 on B, and then 12, 11 on G again. So that bit could be played a number of ways, and I'm not sure if that's the proper way to play it. One other obvious way would be to try and sweep it, in which case it would be starting on the A, going up to the B, 7, 5, 4, 5. And then when you come down, it'll be 7, 4 on G, 7, 5 on D. I found getting that clean up to speed was very difficult. Because then the next bit you'll go is 9, 7, 5, 5, 8, 5, 7, 4. And then 14, 12, 10, 10, 12, 10, 12, 11. Getting the clarity on those notes, especially coming down, requires some really good right hand technique. I did find that while this is tricky, because you've got stretches and then you've got to end each section on your index and then start it again with the index. So. And then index jump up again. That was ultimately easier and took less retries on my behalf. We'll see how he plays it when the actual song gets played live though. I'm very curious to see that. So that was 3/4 of that section. The last bit is played a little bit messily on the studio track, but I guess that's the feel they've gone for with this album. Not everything's pitch perfect or fully aligned to a beat, and especially not meant to be scrutinized at like 20% speed, which is how I tabbed it out. So it's like, but what I could make out from it was... So that's 14 on D, 12, 16 on G with a bend, and then 16 on G, 15, 17 on B, and then a slide up to 20. For the next part, you go back to the 19th fret, and then go 17, 19, 20. Swap to the neck pickup, and the next bit is the last of the hardest bits. (17, 15 on B, 14 on G, then a chromatic 16, 15, 14 on D. Works best if you do a downstroke on the 17, and then economy pick upstroke 15, upstroke 14, upstroke 16. And then continue alternate picking the 15 and the 14. You can try alternate picking it though. The next section is straight into, after you go 16, 15, 14, you have to slide back down to 10, pull off 7, still on D. Then you go to the A string, 9, 10 on A, 7, 9, 10 on D, 9 on G, and then straight to the B string, 10, 12, 13, slide to 17, bend and release 17 on E. So slowly that's... shape of 9 on G, then 10, 12, 13 on B should be pretty familiar if you've tried to learn the Nobody solo. It's the same kind of awkward movement there. Similar to that initial phrase, I try and have my hand ready to do the and just breeze by that 9. You can also economy pick it. It's also tricky with the 2 notes here, and 2 notes here. 3 notes is alright, and then the awkward economy pick or just alternate pick of awkward, awkward, normal, awkward, and then a decent bend to end it, which is also not easy. So. My recommendation for playing that is downstroke, economy, 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 alternate pick, alternate pick, alternate pick, economy if you can, and then bend. The next section is pretty straightforward. It's just you can switch to the bridge pickup for a bit of extra oomph on that bend. But then you go straight back to the neck pickup for this little sweep. So it's an interesting sweep. It's on the D string, G, B, and then E. That's 14, 16, 17, 19. Very Petrucci sweep. I know he uses it a lot. So with these kinds of sweeps, it generally sounds best when only one note is ringing at a time, so you don't want multiple ones ringing out. So you have to be careful with your timing in muting adjacent notes and picking the right note that you want to ring out. So having the synchronization between your right hand and your left hand is very important. Then it just becomes a mess. You can overcome some shortfalls in your synchronization by just making sure that adjacent notes aren't ringing out too much, so having decent palm muting on that sweep. Especially for the downstroke section, so I could even hold the chord and you won't hear the adjacent notes ringing out too much. Because I'm just muting it well with my right hand. A bit harder on the downstroke because as you go down, you tend to have nothing to mute with, but you can use your pinky if you anchor. Still awkward though. So get your synchronization right. But that's kind of a lesson in sweeping rather than this sweep here, because if you listen to the album version, there's so much delay on it that the notes definitely do bleed out and ring together. And if you were to just go, you'd have a lot of time there at the end until the next section actually starts because there's so much delay between the notes. It's almost as if you're playing these chords in between just to simulate the notes ringing out like in the studio track. So the way I actually like to play it is, so I sweep down, and then I play the top 3 notes as a chord, and then sweep back down. Really helps mimic that delay effect that you hear on the album. Don't cheap out and just, you want to get the nice clean notes going up for the delay effect, and then the next section is just a straight run up. So it's just 16, 17, 19 on D, 16, 17, 19 on G, 17, 19, 20 on B, 17, 19, 20 on E. Quickly slide up to 20 and then do a full bend. You finish on 19, 20, 19. And then there's a nice easy bit to give you a break before that last section. Which is 17, 19, 20 on E, and then 17 twice on B. 20, 19 on E, 15 twice. And you go 17, 15 on E, 13 on B, 15, 14 on E, 12 on B, 12, 11 on E, 8 on B, 14 on E, 11, 12 on B, 18, 19 on E. So that's... Now for the final bit. This bit gets a little crazy, but it's not as hard as it sounds. So slow it down is 3 times. So that's 17 on B, 19, 17 on E, this little triplet, 17 back on B again, 16 on G, 17, 19 on B. So I play it using my index finger on 17 on B, 19, 17 goes ring and index on the E string, then when I return to the 17 on the B string, I use my middle finger for that triplet. So then I've got access to the 16th fret, and then I go back to 17, 19 with middle and ring. So it goes something like this. Then the last bit is just these 3 notes. 17 on B, 19 on E, 17 on E, and then 17 on B again. But you play that one twice. So it goes something like... And the last bit is kind of slowed down in the song, so it's hard to match the tempo. I tend to just then emphasize the 17 and the 19, kind of play them more than the middle 17 on the E. And that's it! You're done with the solo. Well done if you made it this far. So how did you find that solo overall? Was it difficult? Was it harder than the Nobody solo if you also tried that? Let me know your experience in the comments below. And also let me know if there's any other solos you'd like to see me give a lesson on. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out already, I've done covers of the Nobody solo, done a lesson on it, and I've even done a breakdown of the live performance of it. So check those out if that interests you. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Cheers.